Decided it was time to start this YouTube channel because I've had friends tell me over and over again, dude, you need to start a channel. So here we go. And I decided to start it with a concept that came to me a couple days ago. It was basically stop learning and start doing. And what I mean by that is there's a certain point at which we've learned enough. And you're never going to stop learning. I recognize that, and I certainly honor that. But there's a point at which action is required. And if you don't take the action, you're going to get nowhere. You can do all the learning in the world and never get to actually doing what you just learned about. So I'm going to use an example. Like many people out in LA, I did some acting study for a number of years when I came out here about 15 years ago, something to that effect. But you know, that was one of the big things I wanted to do, and I knew that this would be a great place to be doing the training, so I did it. And I did it after, for a while, and I would take classes with a certain coach that's known, an acting teacher that's well known and handles a certain style of acting. I would get to a certain point and feel like, you know what, I've gotten what I need out of this, and then I'd go on to another teacher teaching a different style. Like the first one was more dealing with technique is the word I would use. In fact, the first one I dealt with was dealing mainly with cold reading. We would go into class with a script in our hand and reading off the script, not memorized, work on the scene. And I did that for a while, and I felt that that really wasn't a great way to learn how to act for camera, especially. You're going to have to be memorized. So why wouldn't I memorize in class? So I shifted over to a technique class, as I was just saying. And in the technique class, there were certain elements that they were telling us to focus on. And I thought that was important. One of the biggest ones for me was moment before. In effect, as you go into the new scene, you need to be coming from the place of the moment before. If you don't have that in your head or some kind of an emotion to that effect, then you're just starting cold. And it's like, wait, what started you on this topic? So if you come into it feeling that already and knowing that already, it establishes your character to be able to jump right into the discourse. So that was great, and I actually liked doing that because I'm very much a logical kind of person, and so it would go through the different aspects of how to prepare for a scene. And then at a certain point, the curriculum required me to change to what they call a scene study class. Scene study class doesn't focus on technique like I wanted to. It gives you a scene, you work with another person, you present it in class, you get some feedback, and then you're done with it and you go on to the next scene. Again, a valuable exercise. However, I still wanted to be focusing more on other things like technique. And I looked at a few other places and I didn't feel like I was really finding what I wanted. And then I found a comedy class that was highly respected, and I really wanted to do that, so I decided to do that. So in effect, I just kept learning, and this is where the learning comes in. When is it time to take your learning and put it into action? That's the question that I'm raising here today. Look, I have 3 degrees. I studied a lot. I was great at studying and taking tests and such. But that really doesn't do anything in the world. It is certainly worthwhile, and it certainly prepared me to do a lot of different things. However, preparation is just the start. You need to actually do. So I've been doing a variety of things and using all those different degrees and such. I've been using the acting lessons that I took. And today was kind of a significant example, in my view, that I can use to talk about stop learning, start doing. I I've had a habit of watching YouTube videos. Surprise, surprise, right? I've watched them a lot. And so I started to watch videos about living in Southern Europe. It's something that I've been interested in for years, something that I've been considering, and I'm kind of reaching a point in life where that's a possibility if I really want to do it. So this morning, I followed a habit. And I turned on the TV and I turned on YouTube and, oh, hey, here's a cool video that's talking about living in Greece. Well, guess what? I sat there, I watched it for about a minute and I stopped it. And I just said, stop learning, start doing. I've already watched a lot of things and I probably will watch that video later today. But one of the things, the first steps I really wanted to do was to go out and get an international driving permit. I didn't have a lot of time to get into the office where I was going to go to get this permit, and I decided, get off the bed, get moving. So I got up, I cleaned up, I cleaned up the facial hair because I needed to get a photo for this permit. And I went into the office. I was there about a half an hour before their closing time. And I got my international driving permit. So that's there. Now I just have to decide when I'm going to go. And that's, again, going to take doing. I've learned plenty about travel. I've learned plenty about the places that I'm looking to go to. Yes, there's more I can learn. There's always more I can learn. But if I don't start doing, then the learning is wasted. So that's my point today. Stop learning and start doing. And to clarify, we're always going to continue learning, but if we don't get going on the doing, the learning is wasted. So you have a great day. Great to see you here. I'll be back with other topics as time goes on, and look forward to working with you. Take care.